when the process was proceeding, at that time 1 has already arrived and 2. When this process reaches 3, at that time the process P4 has arrived. So when a situation comes that by that time the initial process, when it is running, and at that instant the remaining process is arriving, that indicates that that particular state we call it as RQ or ready queue. So ready queue is indicating that it indicates that the whole process has arrived, and after that the CPU will able to execute as per the algorithm conditions. After RQ, CPU will execute as per algorithm condition. This is very important, please remember. Now, as I was telling to you, now 5. After that, which process coming? P3. How much times? Plus 5. So it becomes 12. So this process goes to 0. This process goes to 0. So you will see that this has gone, this has gone, this has gone. After that, which process will come? It will be P4. And if P4 comes, how much time it needs? It needs plus 3. So after plus 3, what will happen? It becomes 15. So you will see that this process has gone and this becomes 0. So this is one methods over by means of which you will do the you can able to prepare the Gantt chart. Now my explanation and my mode of giving you the idea is this one: not to compute the remaining requirements of a CT or a time turnaround time or a waiting time, rather to make you understand how to use this particular process and incorporate in the Gantt chart. The same process I am considering here, and I am using another Gantt chart preparation. So let's see how this Gantt chart changes in a different phase. I am taking a case, the above case, and I am preparing a simple Gantt chart. I put it here, Gantt chart 2, and this one let me put as Gantt chart 1. This condition is known as non-preemptive. Remember, non-preemptive state. Now this is a preemptive. You have to remember that the same problem we are solving in two different situations. One is non-preemptive. Now let us see. Try to see here. This is P1. Okay. This is P1. I am putting here so that it becomes easy for you to visualize also. I put it like this. I have a PID, I have a AT, I have a BT, I have a remaining time. So I put a P1, same thing, 05, P2, arrival and burst time, P3, arrival, burst time, P4, arrival, burst times. Let's view this one very carefully. It's very interesting, and it's very important, as well as it's easy to understand also. I put it everything for your easiness. Now, if you try to see, as you know, in the preemptive, any process when it's running, you can allow the CPU to interrupt in the middle and switch over from that process to the other process. Not like a non-preemptive case. When the CPU starts executing one process, it will only switch over to the next process after completion of the previous process. Now here, if I am considering P1 here, let's put like a P1, I am here putting P1 here. Now, as the condition is preemptive, what I want to see is that let's not allow the P1 to run for a complete 5 as the case in the earlier. What we will do is that we will allow the P1 to run for a 1 unit time. That means I will subtract minus 1 here. Are you getting my subtract minus? So I will get it 4. You should remember that why we should do 1 minus 1. Why not some other? Because if you try to see the next process from P1 to P2, it takes only 1 unit times to wait. Remember, so if I start P1 at 0, if I put 5 here, that means whole process has come. All will be waiting in a queue. We should not allow the process to wait in a queue in that manner. We will use small. Let me put an example like this. You remember, you just remember like this. Let's take a case. This is a dining table, and there are 4 people are sitting in the dining table, and your mother is cooking, and your mother is cooking, and she is bringing a dosha to the table. So she is bringing a dosha one by one. Let's assume that this person eats 2 dosha, this person eats 3 dosha, this person eats 5 dosha, and this person eats 6 dosha. Now, when your mother brings this dosha, if she starts feeding first to this person, let us take that A, B, C and D. If she starts giving one by one dosha to A, others will be starving in the sense they will be waiting until this dosha is he finishes eating its dosha. 6 numbers. So instead of that, if that is the case, we term it as it is a non-preemptive. But what your mother does is she applies the preemptive. Preemptive means she gives 1 dosha here, she gives 1 dosha here, she gives 1 dosha here, she gives the 1 dosha here. Like that she carries out. That means instead of following the policy of giving the 6 dosha to 1 person at the same instant, she gives in a batch by batch. That's the things. The same logic is applied over here also. You just see here. So what we do, -1. So because looking into the conditions. So if we do this particular scenario, giving a 1 over 2 the process 1, so this process need to wait for next 4 unit of times. So immediately P2 arrives. Now here what we do is that in the similar way P2 also we are applying -1, so it becomes 1. So here what happens, 0 plus 1 is 1. Here P2 arrives, and here also we are giving 1, so the CPU can process it to 2. Now when you see that when it is 2, P3 is existing. If we directly give P2 is equal to, if you add directly 2 here, what will happen? It becomes 2 plus 1, 3. That means P3 will not be there, P4 will come. If we add, I repeat again, after P1 if I am adding plus 2 in place of plus 1, if I am adding 2, what will happen? The whole process P2 will execute, it becomes 0. But after P2 what happened? P3 will not be there, P4. So P3 will be starving. So that's why we allow the P3 to also consider. So after after P3, if we add how much, if we add say for example in place of P3, if we add 2, then what is going to happen in this particular scenario is that automatically this process is going to execute. But here, remember is that what we find is that this is the smallest burst times, whereas this is the largest burst times. So what we do, by considering these two scenarios, instead of allowing the P3, we process P2 once again. If we process P2 once again, what will happen? We add plus 1, so it becomes 3. So even when it becomes 3, P4 is also there, and also P2 is also there, because in the 2 after P2 we are seeing the its terminating period is 2, so that this 2 is equated to this 2. And when after P2 once again it is 3, so that after P2 we are having P4 also. That means I can put like this one. Here we get P3 and here we get P4. Are you getting my points? And whenever this particular situation comes, this is known as ready queue, RQ. I believe that this particular thing is clear. Now after P2, what is the next process we should able to execute? Every process is already in the queue. So after P2, we normally think that okay, let's go with the P3. But if you try to see, the P3 needs a 5 burst unit, whereas P4 is only 3. So we should consider P4 rather than P3. So P3 will be only 3. So what we will do? We will add plus 3. So it becomes 6. So there is no need to wait, because once I shared to you is that after ready queue, CPU will execute as per algorithm conditions. That is, the algorithm conditions means that preemptiveness is over and it will be going into the directly into the non-preemptive mode. That means it will execute fully. So if it is a plus 3 means it becomes minus 3 equal to 0. That means it becomes 6. After this one, which process will come? If you try to see, 5 is one side and here 4 is one side. Which is smaller burst times? 4, because 4 is with respect to P1 and this is. So if I am subtracting minus 4, it becomes 0. So that means I will process P1 and I will add 4 here, so it becomes 10 here. After this one, which one? It is as usual, it is 5. So minus 5 is equal to 0. So I will put one more column and let me write here P3 and I add plus 5, so it becomes 15. So if you see this one, the ready times with respect to P2, here also one P2 is coming, minus 1, it equal to 0. All the process burst time becomes 0 and it has occupied this one. So the difference between these two states is this one, as I have explained in a very easy manner, is that in this case the burst times is 0 in a direct scenario. You don't need to exchange. Whereas in this case you are considering the smallest arrival time of each process. Why? Because you have to put in a ready queue, everything in a ready queue, and once the ready queue is there, then it will follow in the non-preemptive way. That means it follow in the non-preemptive way and it will execute the whole process. It will execute the whole process. So this is the basic important components with respect to these two. So dear students, I believe that this concept will be sufficient for you to understand, and we will be able to solve the remaining algorithms based on these conditions. Thank you.